Glad to have your company on NTV Sport from wherever you are watching. We are coming to you from the Rwandan district of Rubavu in conjunction with Nile Special, Uganda's biggest football fan. Now Rubavu is of course where Uganda is based during this year's African Nations Championship. Now the Cranes opened their account in the campaign with a 2-all draw against Mali. Twice they led but failed to close out the game. As Robert Madoi reports, the team is counting so many walking wounded.
Cranes players walk up to the beautiful view of Lake Kivu here from the Belvedere Hotel. But that's as far as the beauty goes. A growing injury list has left the Cranes physio with his hands full. Cranes coach Milton Micho Srudeovic is trying to put on a poker face though.
With point we are having with two players that probably are not for the match against Zambia. We forget what is behind us. We are looking ahead to the match against Zambia. I need to tell you that this group of players has already experienced even more negative than this one. And that negative experience came from Sekafa when we lost first match. And from losing first match, we went all the way with mental strength, strengthening young players, pushing them to stretch to and over the limits, and you know what happened there. Now this is much higher competition. We got better result than we get on Sekafa against Kenya. And we are looking towards Zambia that is much better opponent than it was Zanzibar that time.
Both Uganda's goals from last night's 2-all draw with Mali came from set pieces. Micho says he's working on making the team just as devastating from open play.
Usually we in Uganda, even last time qualifiers for 2015, we are having problem in set pieces. Now we consider from open play what is not our habit, because we are good in defending in open play. We have problem in set pieces, but football is very funny, unpredictable game. When you close one gap, the other one is opening. So now we need to think about closing both gaps, defending in open play, defending in set pieces, and on the other side, to keep the level of scoring from the set pieces like it was yesterday, but to look to score something from open play.
Uganda returned to action here in Rubavu on Saturday when they take on Zambia, who beat Zimbabwe in their opening match. It will be a must-not-lose match for the Ugandans.
Of course, as I told you earlier, we're here at the Umuganda Stadium in Rubavu, where the Cranes will play the remaining two group matches. It was here yesterday that they played out an absorbing 2-all draw, and as you can see, they have hit the ground running. My colleague and sports producer talked to Daily Monitor sports journalist Andrew Mangusha about the opening match that kept Ugandan fans on tenterhooks.
So we had the first training session of the Cranes after that 2-all draw with Mali last night, and with me is Andrew Mwangusha from the Daily Monitor. Andrew, the Cranes training session, we've seen Farouk Mia at the touchlines there. It's touch and go, isn't it?
It is, of course. Mia, you don't expect him to be on the pitch after that excruciating injury yesterday, and of course he stayed with Ismail Watenga. I didn't expect them to train today anyway, but as to what is happening on the pitch, I guess that the players were expected to train on today.
So no, Mia, that's a terrible headache for Micho to grapple with. Whom do you think will come in and replace him?
I think he has enough experienced players going forward. For example, he can choose from any of Geoffrey Serunkuma to lead the line perhaps, and then have Okuti and Tekisambu where he was. But you remember Muzamiru Mutiaba came on to replace him, and he didn't do really bad. So you'll have to count on Muzamiru Mutiaba and Kezeron Kizito, who had a decent game on the day. But whether they can do exactly what Mia does, that is left to be questioned, because Mia has been the most consistent player domestically at home. And to miss him for any game here is quite a big miss. And we did see that when he went off at halftime.
We just saw in the training session there Ivan Intege scoring a goal, and all the players, including Micho, hailing that goal. He does return into the frame after missing yesterday's game. Timothy Awani filled in for him, but he does return. Do you think he's going to knock Timothy Awani out of the Cranes starting lineup against Zambia?
I think he will, because after the match on Tuesday, we did see Micho. Of course, he was impressed with Awani's effort on the day, but still he said he would not wait for Ivan to come back. and Ivan being the natural man in that role, you'd expect him to start ahead of Awani, especially given the enormous or the importance of the match against Zambia, because if Uganda were to lose that game, then it would make it very difficult for them to get out of the group. So you want someone who is more comfortable in the holding role, and for me, if you ask me, between Awani and Ivan, I'd have Ivan there.
Okay, and the 2-all draw against Mali, any positives to take away from it?
For starters, this is a very tight group, Group B. Mali, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. It's very hard to pick out the minnows, it's very hard to pick out the favorites. They're just about the same level. So looking at the result, personally I thought it was a fair result because both teams were hungry, both teams went for it. At one point I was doing live updates for the monitor site, and it was difficult to keep up with the game. You're recording about a counter-attack this way before you finish typing, another one is coming the other way. So it was a game where both teams showed desire and went for it. Of course, Mali were a bit more dangerous going forward because they had more chances, only that the Cranes managed to deal with it. But again, the Cranes also had their own chances, particularly Isaac Sambu, Kezron Kizito's shot outside the box. But the positives is Uganda did score, but then the question marks will be at them scoring in open play. You remember the first goal was off the set piece, the second goal set piece penalty, and Mali scored 5 goals off open play. They literally left the Ugandan defense defenseless. And the first goal was so clinical. The second goal, I think it was, should be quite a lot. I forget the name, but the second goal, the guy literally just tapped in. He was down on his hands as he tapped it home. So the positives are, of course, scoring 2 goals against Mali, but then they have to check on conceding in open play. Uganda rarely concede in open play, and the goals Mali really executed very well yesterday, where we leave some question marks defensively for the Cranes against Zambia.
Okay, so there you have it, so many positives and negatives for the Cranes to take from that opening fixture. Mitchell will be hoping that the positives outweigh the negatives when the Cranes take on Zambia here at the Umuganda Stadium on Saturday.
Robert Madoi and Andrew Mangusha there. We'll have to leave it at that, but be sure to join us tomorrow as we continue to cover this CHAN Championship for you in proud association with Nile Special. Goodbye.